Welcome everyone to SEO Office Hours. My name is Michael Chidzey. I'm an SEO here at Good Signals. And part of what we do, along with special guests, are these office hour sessions where people can jump in and ask their questions around their website and web search. By the way, nobody here is in the hot seat and we might not know all the answers, but multiple heads thinking about a problem should help. We've had a bunch of questions submitted already, as you can see, but if there's anybody here live on the call who would like to ask any questions, feel free to flag yourself in the chat functionality, which will be monitored. Also, there's usually a bunch of other SEOs on the call, and I think one of the best things about office hours isn't just the four of us sharing our insights and perspectives, but also everybody else. So please continue to your thoughts in the chat. It will also be monitored and we'll kind of summarize as we go. Every week with me today is Juliana, Turnbull, also known as SEO Joe Blogs. I almost forgot your name there, Joe.
It's okay, don't worry. Joe is just such a difficult name to pronounce, but maybe with all of it, it's a bit more of a mouthful.
Well, it's better than I did once. I remember calling you SEO Joe Bog. So that I think pronouncing Joe is fine. Anyway, with me today, like every week, is Juliana, Turnbull, also known as SEO Joe Blogs. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, and hello, everyone, for joining us today. As I said, our 51st episode. So, hello, Jordan, Heaven, Simon, Preeti, Walid, Carolis. We have Albert, Emily, Nanda Kumar. We have Neil, we have Albert, Andrew, Ms. Larney. We also have quite a few, as we said, note takers. We have Caitlin, Oluwaseun. We have Daniel, Sarah, Umama. Yeah, we've got quite a few Monses joining us as well. We also have Boran, Sorab, Raul, Caitlin. Thanks everyone for joining. I think we've also got a very good number of note takers too. So great that people are getting some text written at the same time so we can remember the episode. But also we are recording it so you can view it on YouTube. And thanks everyone that has joined us live and everyone that is watching us from home afterwards. As Mike said, I'm Juliana Turnbull. I'm a freelance digital marketing consultant here in Barcelona, Spain, and we help fintech, finance, and SaaS brands drive more traffic and revenue to their sites. And today, I'm really happy to have two great special guests on the show. We have Divya and we also have Georgia. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you for having us.
So, Divya Jain, thank you for joining us. You're dialing in from Chennai in India, and you're the global SEO head at Edvo. This is an innovative AI-powered platform that's on a mission to make international education easy and accessible for everyone. You have over a decade of experience in SEO, and you've also held leadership roles at many companies like Just Dial, Patyam, and more. Not only do you head up at Edvo, but you are also an SEO trainer for Digital Vidya. It's a global leader in digital education. And your approach to education combines meticulous processes with intelligent automation, as well as self-challenges. So you've actually been listed among India's top SEO leaders by Pepper Content. You're a very busy person. How do you find time for everything?
I'm lucky to get time. I just try to balance my time starting from day till the end, maintain a list, and that's how I manage everything.
Well, you have a lot of experience, and I'm going to share your LinkedIn profiles here. Thanks everyone also that has been commenting so far when we announced the event yesterday. Loads of comments and loads of likes for today's SEO office hours. And welcome, Georgia's dialing in from Australia. She's the co-founder and head of search at SwitchKey Digital, which is a digital marketing and design consultancy based in Oz, specializing in SXO. So SXO stands for Search Experience Optimization, and it bridges this gap between SEO, user experience, and conversion rate optimization. So it is SXO. She's also working on a SXO course with IMG, which is Internet Marketing Gold, and that's going to be launching in June 2025. Georgia, you're very busy because you're also an international speaker. You speak at industry SEO events. You also organize Women in SEO and Digital Marketing Sydney. And next year in March, you said you'll be presenting about the intersection of PPC design and SEO at Digital Marketing Europe. So yeah, that's very impressive, Georgia. How do you also have time for all of this?
It's a really good question. I think just going after things that like you're passionate about. But yes, it's a lot to balance the agency, the conference side, and trying to build the women SEO community like over here in Australia as well.
Will you be going to WTS Fest in Melbourne?
Yes, definitely.
Cool. And you've also, outside of work, you organized a comedy event. You directed a comedy show with 25 cast members in Seymour at the Seymour Centre in Sydney. So that's also very impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess prior to SEO, I was in content. So that was one of the fun things I did, directing a comedy show at the time. But yeah.
Well, thank you both, Georgia and Divya, for joining us today. And thank you, everyone, for our guests. Our audience members, I will pass back to Mike because we've got loads of questions today on our 51st episode.
Great. Okay, we have got tons of questions. You might notice I'm in a very good mood this morning, and that's because I had McDonald's on the way in, which is the first time I've had that in years for breakfast. And I'm trying to shed the wedding weight, basically. So yeah, I'm in a particularly good mood. Simon, I saw the face then that you made when I said McDonald's breakfast. Okay, right, first question. I'm an SEO copywriter. This time last year, life was a little different. Back then, I was crafting 4 to 5 well-researched, high-quality product descriptions a day. But now, thanks to the rise of AI chatbots, I'm expected to churn out or edit around 50 product descriptions a day. 50, that's 10 times more, and I haven't grown 10 times the fingers. It's not just me either. Friends in the industry are in the same position, and honestly, it's ridiculous. So I need tips. Advice. Am I missing something simple? How do I keep producing work that I can be proud of? Who would like to kick off on this one?
Happy to kick off.
All right, Georgia.
Whoever submitted this, I feel like maybe they're just at the beginning of their journey with getting started with AI tools. There's so many now, like ChatGPT. I found Gemini really great for editing content, for brainstorming, or it could be, I've heard like Claude is really advanced as well. And then Perplexity for doing research and looking at like references and sources. So I would say that it sounds like this copywriter probably needs to like test putting in some AI tools into their workflow and potentially like the amount of effort they have to spend. Like previously from scratch, writing 5 super high quality posts, they can still have the same amount of energy, but they can train their own GPT or model to match that brand's tone of voice or their own writing style and feed in all the context that it needs. And it's really impressive now what AI can come up with once you give it enough context and like a detailed prompt.
Great. Divya, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, first advice is not to compromise on quality. That is very important because if you are given the higher number of article, I'm sure after a point you'll be asked to maintain the quality. But you can use AI to your benefit, and pretty much along the answer is similar to what Georgie mentioned. Use AI to put structures, do competitive analysis. I mean, for all those things, you can use AI and then bring the output in terms of writing.
Joe, do you have anything to add?
Just that I would say using AI as what George and Divya said as a platform to help you with the research element, but no one's really going to take away from you the fact that you're going to be writing, but you do need to manage expectations because I do think depending on the industry or the company that you're in, companies may think that, okay, that now you need to be doing X amount more of product descriptions in this case, for example, and that's not going to affect quality. Now, there are also tools that will be able to check and see if that text has been written in AI. And of course, you don't want to have that. So if this is the case where maybe your colleagues or your bosses want you to write everything with AI, you do need to go back and manage expectations to say that, well, there still needs to be a manual element and it will be a bit more difficult to do 50 product descriptions a day in the same quality that we did 4 or 5. Perhaps you can go back and come to an agreement of maybe 20 or you 15 or something like that. So just manage expectations, because I think it sounds like the company doesn't know. They think that they can do everything automated.
Great. When I read this question, I felt their pain. It's don't take the week. Can you imagine if you took the week off and then it decreases? But all joking aside, I think this is a case where I hear this quite a lot with copywriters that I know as well. And I think things have changed quite a lot in the last year. And therefore, you need to, I think, like Georgia was saying, you need to go and embrace these tools, learn about them, and work out how you can be more efficient and be better at your job, because they are incredible. But at the same time, like Divya was saying, you don't want to compromise on quality. So, Joe, we had at Search London this week, right? They talked about AI. And Catalin, who's on here now, mentioned about building things like custom GBTs and stuff like that, which you can do that can really help you and be this amazing assistant when you're creating content and things like that. So it can really help you with your research and speed up parts of the job. Like 50 product descriptions does sound like a lot. Maybe it would be better to just see how much you can produce within the working day and maybe feedback and say what's possible. But I definitely think that along with doing things, being more efficient and doing things faster, I think you can do things a lot better as well with these tools. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. It also depends on how long these descriptions are. Like if it's a paragraph, I think that actually does sound really possible with using some of these tools to support things like your research and checking through for things like sentiment and all of that stuff. But obviously there's always going to be a place for journalism and blogging and things like that. So maybe it's a case that this isn't the right role for you doing product descriptions, and maybe you need to look to see if there's something else that's a bit more suited to how you like to work. Joe, do we have anything in the chat?
We do, yes. So Monsi was saying that it's the same as when we were supposed to publish content every week, not that long ago. So education diplomatically may help. Umam was talking about use IA to generate ideas, outlines, or initial drafts, but not as actually a replacement. So similar to what we have been saying today. And Monsi also mentioned that potentially uniqueness and quality are compromised if you are doing so many. So I do think it is about the education of your client and your bosses or the company, really. What do they expect for 50 product descriptions?
Yeah, they had. So the comment is that it's 10 times as much, but they haven't grown 10 times the fingers. But actually, you kind of have a little bit with some of these tools. And I'm not saying that this isn't a problem, but I just think you definitely need to embrace them a bit more and learn about them. And particularly the sort of custom GPT element, find out more about that if you're writing about the same subject. That might really help with things like the sort of tone of voice and all of that stuff as you're writing. Great.
Yeah, just a couple more points and thanks. Carolis said we can easily provide AI with details like the tone of voice, the target audience. It's essential we review what AI has generated. And then, of course, manual intervention, the human touch, refining the output, and also give credit to where it's done. So also, that's a good point, really. So if you are using AI, be really transparent with obviously your team about what you've generated, how you've got to this answer, because that then helps to manage expectations in the future. We also have from Simon, nice little joke there, Simon. AI always has more fingers than humans. Very good. And that's it, really. Back to you, Mike.
Divya, did you want to say something? You look like you're about to.
Just want to add one thing, pretty much what Joe said. It's important to voice out the concern also, Mike, because writers can get creative block very easily. So I think when that start to happen, it's important to voice out as well.
Great. Okay, next question. We got so many. Okay, let's do this one. Divya, I'm going to point this one at you if this is all right. I'm not saying anything about, just reading through the question now. How can I resolve toxic backlinks that has been causing negative SEO attacks on my website? There are so many. Is it okay to start with you on this one?
Yeah. So Google has become very advanced. I don't think we need to really worry about toxic backlink at this point because Google is very advanced to filter those out. We do have disavow tool to our advantage, but again, only until Google sunsets it. So you can use that as well, but you can disavow the whole domain if you are sure that a particular domain is actually causing a lot of those. So you can disavow. But then other than that, my advice would be to keep building good quality backlinks, not really the traditional way, but the modern way. So focus on good backlinks and don't worry a lot about the toxic backlinks. Think of bigger sites, like without even them doing anything, they get tons of toxic backlinks. So I think leave it to Google.
Great. Georgia, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mostly agree. If anyone still does disavows, be super conservative with what you do. Some tools might say a lot of links are toxic when that's not necessarily the case. Blogspot, for example, like Google would know how to handle that. And maybe, okay, it depends. Would be like if you're in a niche where it's quite common, it's very competitive, then I have heard some case studies, say casino, where you do need to keep doing disavows quite regularly to keep your site in good health compared to competitors. But in most cases, yeah, I do agree, like to keep that at a minimum.
Great. Joe, anything to add?
I would say I'm very happy that we don't have to keep disavowing loads of links. I did a lot of disavowing back in the day, and Google is smart enough. I would actually review your backlinks just so that you know where they're coming from, the domains, and then I would actually focus on actually creating more exposure opportunities. What do you want people to know you for? Are you doing a study? Can you be reaching out to journalists? Think about some topic ideation or PR ideation ideas. And I would focus on that and keep the backlinks. Depending on the industry, that's a good point. What you said, Georgia, about the casino, but I'd probably not worry too much about doing the disavow files because Google have said many times that they can work it out, apart from, of course, in certain industries, like Georgia said. Also, Simon said, forget them. Just spend your time worrying about things you can make a difference, you can affect. So yeah, back to what Divya said, look at what you can be doing for digital PR. Why would people want to link to you? Are there any stories that you can create that would then link back to your site?
Great. Yeah, totally agree. Like sometimes we get inquiries for things like this where it's, can you clean up our backlink profile and all that stuff? And I always say basically what you guys have been saying, which is rather than focus on that side, if it was me, I would focus on trying to earn new links by doing things like digital PR campaigns, that sort of stuff. So we don't tend to do that. So totally agree. Okay, next question. So during the last session, somebody brought up an interesting point in the chat. The company was careless about SEO metrics and focusing more on objectives, is what was said in the chat. I would like to delve deeper into this topic. How can we align SEO KPIs with the broader company objectives to create detailed and meaningful reports that truly reflect business impact and objectives?
I'll take that one, Mike. I'll answer that with the example. So generally what the approach that we do is, obviously it has to be aligned to the business. Also, what we generally do, we first try to understand the business objective. It's very important to know that, because if you really want SEO to be a revenue contributor, then you need to align yourself to that and then plan your strategy. So if the business objective is to generate X amount of revenue from X from certain markets or certain categories, then you do your analysis towards that, see where the gap is. Is your current SEO performing there well or not? Try to identify gaps in all areas, keyword, rank, backlink, content, all the areas, and then come up with the plan, not just around traffic, but also around meaningful metrics. In most cases, it could be sign up, or in few cases it could be directly the ticket size, the revenue. So you come up with the traffic projections first. Based on that, you come up with the rank projections. So what I generally do, I know we cannot achieve the top ranks immediately, so I generally come up with that 6 months or 3 months or 1 year traffic projection. Based on that, I set myself a target to get certain amount of sign up. So you might have benchmark, I mean, you can consider the current, set the benchmark based on the current status, I mean, and decide, you need to decide or you need to finalize that you will not go beyond this. And let's, like in my current organization and previous organization, we were focused on getting the signups. So there is a metric that we always used to maintain called user to lead, U2L, we call it. And we knew that we cannot go beyond 1%. So no matter what amount of traffic we get, we have to get it more than that. So those would be the right metrics to track. And once you do that, you will see SEO contributing to the revenue, and obviously that meets the business objectives as well. And the same data you can present in your business meetings.
Great.
So that
Amazing.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, adding to that, like totally agree about like it's not just traffic we should be looking at as SEOs. And I think like at the beginning, if you're agency side and you're bringing on a new client or you're in-house and you're looking at your strategy for the next year, then I think that's a great time, like at the beginning, to review like the current metrics that the SEO team might have, that the editorial team or marketing, and try to come together and align that, which is always the hardest part. So I'd say, like from the SEO side, super important to be able, like Divya said, to tie that to your conversions and have that tracked properly in analytics or whatever platform they're using, and then hopefully in the CRM as well. So yeah, that could be your form starts, completions, calls, subscriptions, or it could be greater engagement on the site, but whatever it is, to align across all the teams and then try to set your quarterly or 6 monthly goals for growth there and keep reporting on it, keep tracking it as granularly as you can with GA4 and set up all the key events, I think.
Great.
Yeah, those are great points. Just to add on to what Georgia and Divya said regarding like the events, I'd also look at what before was like micro conversions. So if people are doing that contact form, if people are downloading something, people are adding to a basket, see if they're dropping out. So look at those different elements as well. Also, I would actually still look at other channels such as direct and email, because, and also organic social, because that all does have an impact overall in the marketing. And especially with email, that can, if it's not tracked properly, can come under direct, but they all help to build up the awareness of the company's brand products, which then also reinforces the SEO as well. So lots of different elements there, but really try if you can to actually do more of an integrated campaign and integrated marketing campaign rather than, okay, the SEO metrics, try and see if we can have it all together so that it's not siloed. Because I feel like sometimes when we try and do like SEO metrics on itself, it can more easily get siloed than if it's obviously working with the rest of the channels. And yeah, we just had a couple of comments in the chat actually. Preeti said that in her market research, she found out that people don't tend to measure the SEO metrics. They measure the core metrics of the business, like the signups, the free trials, and so on. The thing is to remember that SEO is just a small piece of the puzzle. So thank you, Preeti. And you mentioned that last week as well. Simon said if you can attribute traffic that reaches the end of the sales funnel to organic traffic, then you have a measure. Umama was talking about measuring KPIs like form submissions, like we said, email signups and demo requests. Yeah, demo requests, that's also a very key one as well, because obviously it can lead to more conversions. Yeah, so great chats, notes already in the chats. Market research as well, Monsi saying. And also, she also talked about internal collaboration, making SEO have more visibility. So on that, I would also say that if you're doing any types of site redesign or migration, it's not down to the SEO team to check that all the time. It's a company objective to make sure that you're on board, you're keeping track of what's happening with the actual website, make you change to the homepage or not. Oh, over to you, Mike.
Great. Yeah, I loved everybody's answers. Whenever I'm working with a business or if you're in-house or anything like that, I think it's really important to, when you're thinking about KPIs and meaningful metrics, is to think about what really matters to that business. And in most cases, it's sales or inquiries or advertising revenue, whatever, depending on the organization. It might be donations, might be bums on seats, very much depends on what you're selling. But whatever it is, just always remember it and don't get carried away with other stuff that happens. Like I'm working with a client at the moment And in January, they make 80% of their revenue. And there's one particular department that basically a business that is responsible for that revenue. And they're also doing loads of other really cool things like launching new products, that we're working on a new website for them for something else and so on. But it's so important that when you're looking at the success of that business, that you're always going back to what is the thing that matters to them most. And for them, it is inquiries for that particular part of the business during January. So that's one thing I would say is just whenever you work with a business or in a business, always remember what is really important and feedback on that. And then the other thing is to think about, so to not necessarily report the same numbers each month. I think it's really easy to have these kind of templates when you're doing KPIs and reporting, where you talk about organic traffic overall and stuff like that. But I think it's really important to just be a bit of an investigator when you're coming to doing those reports and dig into the detail and try and find the things that you'll actually learn and share those. So what are the really good things that's happened this month? What's not changed? And what are we worried about? And really break it down. So for example, if you're in Search Console and you're looking at organic traffic, straight away, I would strip out any branded terms and treat non-brand and brands separately. And then you break it down by pages and really get into that detail. But I wouldn't then, when I'm reporting back to the board, I wouldn't then go through all of that. I would just go through the bits that they care about that really matter. So yeah, those would be my two things. Don't always go through the same metrics. And when you are reporting back, there will be a couple of things that really matter to them, and just make sure those are the things you also always cover. Great. Anything else, Joe, or should we crack on with the next one?
Let's crack on for the next one. We've done 3 and we've got quite a few more to do. But I wanted to say thank you everyone for joining us today, and those that are watching us from home on the recording. As you are enjoying the show, do click a like on the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Such a catchy name.
And you can join us also live by going on to Good Signal's website, and there'll be an SEO-office-hours page that you can sign up. And we will be continuing this as well in January and February and for the foreseeable future. So if you would like to join us live, there's plenty of opportunities to be in our audience. Back to you, Mike.
Great. And by the way, Simon, you're still on my list of one day we'll get you on. Okay, so next question. Our sites target highly competitive, trust-dependent industries, e.g. health and wellness. How would you ensure that our content demonstrates strong EEAT signals to improve rankings in these areas? Who would like to kick off on this one?
Can kick off.
Go for it, Juliana.
Yeah, so I guess for really why our niches EEAT, or showing your expertise, your first-hand experience is still super important. So I mean, yeah, simple things, of course, would be actually showing like who is writing for the site, having that fact checked by experts in the niche, if that's like doctors, dietitians, nurses, for example, and then like thinking about how your article can actually add that additional expert value that just a very SEO or AI written article couldn't. Like, how can you add in some quotes from people on the ground, or can you interview, say, 5 doctors who can give their take on some particular topic or some wellness trend, for example? Is it a fad? Is it science or something like that? Yeah, I think those are a few things. It's really basically really showcasing that expertise and looking for ways to add your like unique value, the first party data and expert perspectives.
Amazing. Divya?
Yeah, adding to what Georgia mentioned, I think one good strategy for these type of industry could be thought leadership as well. So you can collaborate with the experts, especially who are well known, if you can get them on board and start doing thought leadership as part of your LinkedIn strategy or your blogs. Generate some form, short or long form of content using those experts. I think that will help hugely.
Amazing. Joe, do you have anything to add?
So I actually really like how NerdWallet, it is in the finance, but it's still in the target, a highly competitive space, how they've done it. So if that article is about the mortgage outlook in December, so they have someone that's written it, and then they also have someone that's edited it by. So they're fact checked. So they've actually gone through and checked it out, and you actually can see that in the actual blog post itself. Then when you go to the person that wrote it, it says what they've actually written in the past, what their education is, the previous experience, their awards, and also what they've also written out about before on the actual website and also on other news sites. The same when you go to the edited person, what they are. So this person is signing editor, what their education is, what they've actually helped to edit in the past. So this really helps to actually build up that EEAT. And I think they're a great example of how they've actually been able to implement it across multiple different verticals within NerdWallet. It's banking, it's also insurance, it's travel. I would use a similar format to that.
I think you just need to publish the best answer on the internet would be my recommendation. And to do that, I think you need to look at what else ranks for the terms that you want to, and the topics that you're trying to rank for. I think you need to make sure, like Georgia was saying, it needs to be written by experts, and what makes them real experts, you need to showcase that. You could provide unique data or something that no one else is offering to make whatever you're sharing stronger. You could provide different perspectives from people that are, say, for instance, you mentioned health and wellness. If you're suggesting like a meal plan, or if you're suggesting types of workouts, actually having videos of people doing that and giving feedback, that sort of thing. But yeah, I would just, if that's how when I'm trying to rank for things, that's what I tend to do. Is we actually had a question about a month ago, and I really liked the idea of just write the best answer on the internet. That was the question. I think it's smart.
So you took that one then, Mike.
Well, so yeah, so I've basically stolen that because it's such a great, yeah, of course, that's how you win. Do we have any comments, Joe?
We have, so Simon said that build a brand, but that obviously takes the whole company to do, of course, not just the SEO team. Preeti said that there are some things that she would do is add things that are never mentioned in different articles. So yeah, pick out what hasn't been said. Perhaps also take it from a different angle as well. Sometimes controversial stuff just also helps because it also showcases that you know what you're talking about. Backs what you're saying, Simon. So build a brand, very important. Carol is mentioning about entities. They're crucial for Google too, especially in the health market or in these competitive areas. So a couple of comments there. Thanks. No, nothing else. Just ready for our, I think it's our fifth question.
Great. One of the questions I want to ask is, how do I ask my manager for a salary increase? I'm assuming this person's an SEO and it's not just a random question. Has anybody here ever asked for a salary increase, and how it all has given them, and what was it that did it?
The real answer would be, if you have data to back that, please do that. Go with the data to your manager and rightfully ask for it.
Amazing. Georgia, what about you?
I mean, yeah, it's a negotiation, I think. And yeah, I think usually with salary raises, it's often like you've probably already done the extra work, you've put in a lot, gone the extra mile, and then it's time to go to your manager and be like, this is the value I've provided. I think that's why I deserve what an X percentage increase. And maybe you can look at examples like the industry benchmark or other research if they need some sort of objective benchmark to refer to as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point about the benchmark. I would look into that, but also highlight what Divya said about data. So I would have hoped also within your PDP or personal development plan that your manager had said that you could anticipate a pay rise, or if you do X, Y, and Z, you could see a difference to your compensation package. I would also come ready for that meeting with your manager about other sort of forms of payment. So more training, more maybe some time off, perhaps if there are any stock options in some companies, they have that bonus. Also about maybe if you can have some additional elements from the company if they have certain products or services that you can get more of a discount. So come to the meeting as well with that as a backup so that if that manager says, oh, no, there's no budget, at least you can get something else as well.
Great.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, go for it, Joe.
I quite liked actually what Albert said as well here. He said target versus achieved equals money. So ask for a considerable raise. I do think this also comes back, as I said, to your PDP. What did you outline that you would do? What have you done? What has your team been able to generate, or you yourself, because of the work that you've done? Simon said, apply for another job. Leave the application form somewhere so your boss can see it. If they help you leave, you will never have got an increase anyway. Interesting, Simon. I didn't think about that one. Yeah, so that is quite interesting. But yeah, some good points here raised already. But over to you, Mike. How would you ask for a salary increase?
I agree with everybody, to be honest. And I think we're quite lucky. We work in roles where you can access data which can show the value that you're adding. The only thing I would add is don't forget there's lots of other people that go into creating a company. And sometimes as SEOs or marketers, we're so fixated on those data points that, oh, we've generated X amount of inquiries or sales, but often there's like customer service and there's all those other components that need to be paid for. But yeah, I think I agree with everybody. Great. Hopefully that helps. Good luck. Okay, next question, an AI one. So how SEO will align with AI and how do we adapt our strategies and content to keep pace with the massive wave of AI advancements, particularly with the new AI-driven updates in Google search landscape?
I'll take that one. See, I think first of all, start using AI tools. I'm sure whoever asked this question already using some tool, SEMrush, Moz, or Endul, they have built AI. They have AI capabilities now, and the suggestions or the insights come from those tools are really great. So start exploring that. As far as the AI being part of search result is concerned, I think we just need to focus on quality SEO, which goes back to the quality content. As long as that is met, nobody can stop your result coming into any of these, search, any of these areas as well. We are seeing that happening. In fact, a lot of our results have actually started not just coming in AI overviews, but we see those results, or we see the traffic and signups coming from AI tools as well. That is only because we were able to build quality content in past. So I think it's all about putting your SEO strategy right, not just focus in one area, backlink or content, focus in all areas. So that is important. And keep monitoring the traffic coming from various sources. Don't just get stuck to a search. Keep an eye out for other sources as well.
Great.
Yeah, totally agree about the like how things are a lot more holistic now with search, and you're not just trying to rank in Google search. It could be in other LLMs, whether that's in ChatGPT, in Gemini, and other engines, and or even potentially more looking at, say, TikTok and YouTube also then showing up in Google search a lot now. I mean, to keep up with AI advancements, I would say that we definitely should be looking at how we can embrace them to assist us to do so that we can do more quality work and just take away, I don't know, like from human error or things that can be done faster. So I would definitely look at seeing like how can you bake some AI tools into your, like for content from the keyword research phase, identifying intent, clustering for more of the machine learning insights, and then in terms of writing content, to generate ideas, come up with topics, potentially create an initial brief outline. And the human part is still super important to look at how to refine that and make it completely right, and then give the continuous feedback, I think, to whatever AI you're training on, how to improve it and feed it your own first party data so it gets smarter and smarter. And the second part of that question was like on how to get into Google AI overviews. I was doing some research into the patent, actually, like for the information gain SEO patent. And like what was really interesting was seeing that this essentially, the TLDR, it's like the information gain score, even though that's more for traditional search interfaces, which is like Google search voice search. However, Google still grounds AI overviews with traditional search. And we've seen from the studies that AI overviews is still so heavily tied to ranking well in traditional search. So that's a very long way to say that I think if we focus on still doing well, really, and doing quality work from traditional search and also investing in other channels, like definitely like YouTube, video content, maybe TikTok if it's right for your brand. All of that together will be really super helpful for any brand.
Great, Joe.
I would say we have a lot of questions around AI that we had on the show today, in the past, and we'll have some in the future. What I think is that people are just unaware of how do we work with it. So in terms of how can SEO align with AI, what I'd say is take it a step back and actually put it in your processes. So when we're doing SEO, we do keyword research, we do on-page audits. What's really important is actually say, okay, first of all, let's give ourselves some time in our SEO process to integrate AI at the beginning, maybe the middle and the end. And also some time, if we're in a bigger company, to do some AI learnings, because things are changing really quickly. Then not everyone knows what's going on. And many times people don't ask, oh, how can I do this? Or how can I do it better? And people are misinformed. And this is particularly important for people that are higher up, who think, as we saw in a question earlier, that we can use the AI and it will just save us loads and loads of time and we don't have to have any human intervention. So I would say make sure that we actually change our processes slightly. So we incorporate AI, which means give ourselves a bit more time to understand it and also to use it better, to then have also some manual intervention at the end. And I just also wanted to highlight just a couple of things that others have said, because it ties in with what I've just mentioned. So Simon said as well, float with the tide. What AI can do for you is to help you do parts of your workflow more effectively. So again, look at your process or your workflow. So develop those techniques. Don't expect it to do all your job completely for you. AI tools, use AI for semi-automation, Albert said. So to enhance, to obviously to give yourselves a bit more time, but of course it's not going to do everything. So thanks. Lots of interaction in the chat today. Back to you, Mark.
Great. Yeah, I think one of my recommendations would be just to follow people that are on things like Blue Sky Social and Twitter and LinkedIn and so on, who are using AI in interesting ways, and learn from them. And I spend so much time on things like Mike King's blog posts and so on, and test some of the things that those guys are doing at iPullRank. And so I think that's one thing, is just to follow people and just learn in general about how people are using AI in different ways. I think the other thing, similar to Joe and talking about processes, I think with AI and things, it's like a constantly moving goalpost. So if it was me, I would constantly review your week or your month and how you've been doing things and think, are there better ways of doing this based on what there is now and what I've learned this month? And I think the other thing is just going to events and things like that and hearing about how different people are using AI. Like I mentioned Search London earlier, you had a panel of people talking about AI. And I think I've had embeddings in my head ever since. I've been learning loads about embeddings and so on. I went at Brighton SEO in September. I went to a talk by the marketing team at Holiday Extras, and they were talking about AI and how they're using it there. And I thought it was really fascinating. And they're trying to do lots of stuff customer facing as well. So for example, their terms and conditions in some of their content, that they've got things like custom GBTs, basically, where so you've still got the content there, but if you've got a specific question, you can ask the custom GBT to get that information there and then. And I thought that was really cool. And one of the questions that they have there is, if AI was to disappear tomorrow, how would it affect our business? And what you want is it to really affect your business, because it means you're actually using it and doing meaningful things with it. So that's something that's stuck in my head. And since watching that talk, I'm constantly trying to evolve my processes here. Think particularly around things like the competitor research that we do now for content is so much better than it could have been without AI, where I might have, when doing sort of things like commercial pages, historically I might have been able to look at 10 to 20 web pages that I'm competing with. Instead, you can take the content of like hundreds for all of those keywords and then create custom GPTs and review it and so on. And I think stuff like that is a bit geeky, but it's so cool. And that's just stuff that I've been learning as I've been reading what others are doing. So yeah, I think, how do you keep on top of things? I think you just evolve with it and test it and see, will this actually make what I'm doing better? And yeah, that's some of the things in terms of how I've been using it. Great. Right. Where are we time-wise? Oh, can we fit
7 minutes?
I know, maybe we'll just go to our regular question, because we usually only have 10 seconds for that. And it might be nice to hear from you guys in a bit more detail about, what are you most excited about from an SEO perspective? So Divya, what are you most excited about from an SEO perspective at the moment?
I'm excited about the whole landscape. It's changing really fast and challenging us every day. So very thrilled and excited to try new things out every day. In fact, very good point you made in the last conversation. It's very important to follow the people and see what kind of experiments they are doing. So yeah, that is the most thrilling thing right now. We believe in doing a lot of experiment and seeing results after that. So that is the excitement about.
Great. Georgia, what are you most excited about from an SEO perspective at the moment?
I think I'm really excited about, and the challenging part as well, is how SEO is evolving to be. SEO is branding, SEO is marketing, and seeing how we as SEOs, maybe SEO is not even the right word. Like, I have to work a lot more closely with other teams, and say for the website, that doesn't just involve SEO, that's development, that's design, that's copywriting, that's marketing and subject matter experts as well. So I think seeing how people learn to come together more with, that's really who's going to like really win as a brand. I think in 2025 the AI stuff is going to be super interesting. I think as that evolves, and whoever can keep up with with the testing and really being smart with how to bake that into their processes, and really training AI to be like an extension of their brand, it's going to be super powerful. And then at the same time, the last thing I think is that still keeping that human part is going to be more and more important than ever, because that's never going to replace, or not yet, not going to replace LLMs yet. So how we can show the human side, the expertise, is going to be crucial. And for me, that's also through community and building communities too.
Amazing. Joe, what are you most excited about from an SEO perspective?
Well, I'm always excited about events, but I was really happy with this last event at Source London. We had Roxana, Caitlin, and we had Erica share their experience about AI. Roxana was talking about embeddings. Erica was talking about how she's using AI to help with content briefs, and Caitlin was talking about LLM. So the thing that I'm looking forward to is really how we can learn from each other about these different elements, because I think sometimes when you just are reading what's on the news, we're thinking we need to know everything, but actually you need to actually spend some time. So when one of the questions obviously earlier was about how do we integrate it within our SEO AI, is put that in your process. Give yourself a bit of time, like every morning, maybe 20 minutes to try something different from maybe an event that you've attended or from someone that you're following about what they're doing with AI. So I'm really excited about working with other people to discover how this AI can help us be more efficient in our jobs.
Great. I'm really excited about Black Friday, which is obviously today. And so analyzing the search results to see who's winning, who's losing, and what seems to be making the difference. So I've been following that for the last couple of weeks. Just seeing, I'm very excited about the core update. Weirdly, I'm one of these people that really enjoys that, because we see a shift and you get to learn loads from changes in the search results. So we track tons and tons of keywords for the most competitive spaces, and I don't work in all of them, but I just like learning from them. So whenever there's like an update, or if we just haven't done it for a while, it's quite fun to just go through the search results and try and work out, why is that ranking? Sometimes it's a bit of a shame. Sometimes it's not, that they don't really deserve to rank. But when they do, and you can take those ideas and apply it to some of the websites you're working on, is awesome. And same thing with Christmas type keywords, and January sales will be another one. So that's something that I'm very excited about over the next month or so. Great. Have we got anything in the chat, Joe, before we clock off?
Well, just that Simon said we could have put in another question and just to spin out what I was talking about. But I like not rushing, Simon. It's good. Shahira Sharira said about that SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. And Carella says, yeah, I was going to say that, especially with AI. No, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. I think we've got quite a broad number of countries dialing in. We've got all the way from Australia, we've got India, we have Europe. I think we have Africa as well. So we might actually have 5 continents today. We just don't have the Americas, North and South, but it's early for them. So they can come another time.
It's like the middle of the night, isn't it? By the way, we did have quite a few questions on core updates, but because I say this, I don't think it's finished yet. It hasn't finished rolling out. I thought there's not really much point in covering them. So hopefully next week we'll be able to cover those questions. Just because our advice a few weeks ago was to wait until it's finished before we start analyzing it. So it seems a little bit of a contradiction to then start talking about it. Great. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. So thank you to our speakers. Georgia, particularly you. It's like Friday evening in Australia. Thank you so much for sort of come here. And also, you don't even have a glass of wine or anything like that. So
next time. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much to our live audience for watching and for those watching afterwards on YouTube. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you to those that submitted questions. Hope you have an amazing weekend and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you very much. Only 3 more episodes until the end of the year. Thank you all for your support so far. And we'll see you for the 52nd episode on December the 6th.
Hey, bye.
Bye.
Bye.